Hello everyone, today is Wednesday, January 22nd. It's about 2:13 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's midday in the market. Just wanted to make another video and talk about trailing stops and locking in profits and so forth. This is the NASDAQ on a 500 tick with the open range filter, and I had raised my goals on this when a couple of weeks ago when we had higher volatility. If this was a $500 stop, a $500 target, we would have hit our target on this trade, because as you can see, the equity high here was about $400, and certainly we would have got $100 out of this move here. But since we have the higher target here, this turned into a loser, and a better stop strategy would be bringing your stop in a situation like this where you have this much profit. I would move the stop to just below the volatility stop, because you'll notice how often price pulls back to the volatility stop or a little bit beyond. And with this much profit, I'd move it to the volatility stop or even higher right here, like that. On this trade here, again, had I had a higher goal, I would have begun trailing the stop at the volatility stop, and you can automatically set that. So you can say, okay, here the entry was roughly around 92.25, and it went to 39 or almost 60 ticks. So instead of bars here, I could have a volatility stop, and I could set this, say, at 60 ticks or 50 ticks. And the only problem is set this way, if it actually touches the volatility stop, you're out. But you can also use the tick offset. So this would require it to go 3 ticks past, or whatever you want to set there, the volatility stop. So you can set the trailing stop automated that way. You can also drag the trailing stop like so. Just hold your mouse over the black marker here, and you can drag this up. So where we are right now, instead of setting a stop at break even, which I don't ever do, I would place it at the low here like this, just below this swing, for example. In this case, I might give it a little more room and place it down here below the open range or something like that. So in order to set it, you have to be on the black marker part and just click like that. Another cool feature of the Auto Trader is up here. You can see I mouse over and it says RTS. This is real-time settings. So you can go here, and I could change my daily goal on the fly. I could change this to, say, 500. And if I just close this, and then I close that but open it again, you'll now see that my 750 goal has changed to 500. So this is a really unique feature. I don't think anyone has this, the ability to change parameters on the fly. Always try to remember this. If you have a license for the Auto Trader, click on real-time settings, and you can make changes here to your targets, your trailing stops, and this is on the fly without refreshing your charts. Very useful feature. Back to the trailing stops again. I would look at market structure, and I would place stops accordingly. I would also take into account, like in yesterday's video, Jim was 80% to his goal of $500. He had almost $400 in the trade. At that point, I would not use break even as a stop. I'd probably, trail the stop a little bit closer. I've always thought that if you're going to set the stop as break even, you might as well set it a couple of bars back, because it seems to me that more often than not, it comes back to your break even, to your entry price, and takes you out of the trade and then goes on. This just happens so much, and this is why I don't use a break-even stop. It's also why we have the break-even set the way we do. Now, one final note on setting stops is also another feature in the Auto Trader, which is the stop loss calculation mode. Okay, now don't forget the dialog box here, but number 2, if you set this at 2, like this, then number 2 is the prior bar, higher, lower, average entry price, or better, plus minus ticks. So what that is your stop now becomes, with your stop loss calculation mode set at 2, your stop is the low of the entry bar, which is here. Okay, so you would have been taken out here. But what I usually do is, here I have a stop loss of 75 ticks. What I would do is I would add, 25 or 30 ticks or more, depending on the size chart you're in. But so what this is saying is I have to go 30 ticks below the low of this bar to get stopped out. And so this is a very useful feature, and you can, once again, you can change this on the fly, and it's super useful. So depending on the market structure, you could look at this and then you could change your stop accordingly. It could be very useful because you either want the trade to go your way or you're wrong, and it's another way of keeping a really tight stop. Okay, that's all I have to say about setting stops. We have another live trading video from Trader Jim, and I'm going to get to that in a moment.